All right, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you. It's an ML Sports Take brought to you by our terrific friends at Stanley Law Offices, Brian Comboy of Mass Mutual, New York State, and Rosie's Corner. If you're in and around Central New York, right in front of the Brewton Bridge, get off the Bartell Road exit, take a quick right, take a right on Route 11, get up there and enjoy the comfort food this week. Meatloaf Monday, Turkey Slop Tuesday, Chicken and Biscuit Wednesday, awesome stuff, Fish Friday, mac and cheese on Thursday and Friday as well. Rosie's Corner, a proud ML Sports Platter sponsor. Let's recap the Falcons and the Buffalo Bills. I mean, listen, this Bills team is so much better than the Atlanta Falcons, but unfortunately for Bills fans, they were stressing out at the half. I certainly was, I'm not going to lie. This was just an infuriating game to try and watch. The Bills had the ball down in the red zone again. And by the way, they got to clean up this red zone offense before the postseason. This is just absurd. They clinched a playoff spot today. I'll get to that in a second. But this red zone offense it takes so many snaps and breaks and this and that to happen before they even score. Finally, they did. A couple of runs by Josh Allen, both touchdowns. He was way better with his legs than he was with his arm today. He did get better in the second half, of course. But the reality of the situation is very, very simple. They got to clean up the red zone situation. If they had scored the third touchdown, they'd be up 21-5. Even if Allen throws the ball away, doesn't throw it into chaos, it's 17-5, and the Bills have a double-digit lead, and they are controlling a double-digit lead they had before at 14-5, but 17-5, you're controlling it a little bit more. You know, if they had scored Atlanta getting the ball back, scoring 6 and 2 and 8, and you're within a point, you get 17. It's two possession game. That's kind of the difference with that double digit lead. But in this football game, the Bills, I thought, did some great things adjusting offensively and defensively. They outscored them 15-0 in the second half. Atlanta didn't even put a point on the board in the second half. A lot of that has to do with the defense, and the other part of it is Devin Singletary. I thought he was the best player on the field today offensively for the Buffalo Bills. 23 carries, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he averaged 4.8. Listen, I'll say it again for everybody who keeps coming at me about the run game. The personnel, you've got to have the personnel to run the football. The Bills all year haven't. If you can't run the football, you don't have downfield blockers, you don't have a running back who you feel confident in, you can't force it down the throats of the other team. It's too predictable for the other team. You have to go with your DNA. You have to throw it around. Look at what they did against New England. Look at what they did down in Tampa in the second half. Throwing the ball got them the comeback and all the rest. The throwing the ball beat the Patriots with a balance of the run. Now, things change quickly with the Bills because for a while, Breida, Moss, Singletary, you were 0 for 3. Now, you got Singletary running at a very, 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 very high clip. And I got to tell you this, Devin Singletary put in the time in the offseason. Remember that? He went through that entire conditioning program. He saw new trainers. He upped his game. He became more physical in the offseason. He worked on a lot of balance, control, and power. Well, guess what? In December, January, it's paying off because this guy looks pretty good right now. And now that you have Devin Singletary, run the ball with throwing the ball. You've got a balanced attack. If you have it, plus the offensive line was a lot more intact today. They had Feliciano available. Deion Dawkins was in there. Spencer Brown was in there. Mitch Morse, by the way, has had a tremendous year. I think the two unsung Bills this year, Mitch Morse at center, and I think when you really think about it, Harrison Phillips on defense, he was terrific as well. Let's get to that defensive effort. Unbelievable stuff here in just a second. It's an ML Sports Take recap of Falcons-Bills brought to you by our great friends at Elevate Fitness of Syracuse and Chick-fil-A of Cicero and Clay. You have a situation here where, Allen, again, 11 for 26 for 120 yards, 3 interceptions. Not a great day with the arm, but running it, he went 15 for 81. Just mentioned Singletary, 23 for 110 and 2 touchdowns. Allen also had the 2 touchdowns. And then Zach Moss, 5 for 39. He actually was really efficient when he went in there, and I think he surprised the Atlanta Falcons a lot in that second half when he was getting some of those carries, wearing down the defense. Again, last year, he did that against the 49ers on the road. He did it against Denver on the road. Fourth quarter, Zach Moss is the best Zach Moss. He wears people down with that big baby bull frame, so great job by him. Quick stats on the receivers. Diggs 5 for 52. Gabe Davis 3 for 40, but he made an unbelievable tiptoe catch in the first half. What a great grab that was. His hands are terrific, and I think he's going to be a huge part of the offense next year. I actually don't see Cole Beasley on this roster. I think it's going to be the Diggs, Gabe Davis show, McKenzie in the slot, Stevenson backing him up, a little Dawson Knox here and there, and Emmanuel Sanders is a one-year deal. He's off the roster as well. So let's pay attention to that next year, where Gabe Davis is going to have a lot more, I think, production and a lot more targets. Elsewhere, let's see, we had Isaiah McKenzie, 1 catch for 6 yards, Cole Beasley, 2 for 22. Felt like Cole Beasley had more than that, but, that one interception that Allen threw, I thought it was a great breakdown by Mark Sanchez. He basically was outlining what happened there in the route and the miscommunication where Beasley stopped and Allen still fired it, and just a miscommunication across the board. But the Bills' defense in the second half was absolutely the story. I mean, they had some good offensive drives. They ran the ball and all the rest, but they clamped down and they stopped the Atlanta Falcons. I think that Kyle Pitts' hamstring injury certainly helped the cause a little bit in that regard. You can't win football games with Russell Gage and Parker Heese as receivers. Cordell Patterson is a really good player, but he's also a splash player. And today he splashed early, and then the Bills just completely and utterly suffocated the entire Falcon offense, including Pitts, who went back into the game. He was kind of hit and miss there, and Patterson across the board. And they made Matt Ryan uncomfortable, of course, and that was a big deal. When you look at this defense right now, man, Tremaine Edmonds is really playing well. Every single time you go to the box score, who's the first name you see? It's Tremaine Edmonds. He led the Bills with tackles today again with 7. 5 were solo. Milano was all over the place. Micah Hyde was terrific as usual. And I'll tell you, there's a couple of guys who are really improving every single game. And Ed Oliver was all over the place again today too. He had a sack. He had 4 total tackles. 2 were solo. Harrison Phillips, I mentioned him in the beginning, he had a sack. Greg Russo was great today. 3 tackles, all of which were solo, and he had a sack. But here's the guy who was really, really, really impressed me this year. Actually, there's 2 of them. Taron Johnson coming into his own. Every single game he gets, actually, there's 3 guys. He's come into his own big time. He also had a sack today. He's been unbelievable. He can cover in the slot. He can blitz the quarterback. He can do a little of everything out there. And he has great hands, and he stays at home, and he's a terrific tackler. Taron Johnson was outstanding again today. Every game he gets better. Dane Jackson, same type of deal. There were a couple of plays in the first half where Dane Jackson was on Kyle Pitts, right? The best receiving tight end for a rookie in the history of the NFL. Went over 1,000 yards today. Dane Jackson didn't care. He closed him right up. Terrific stuff out of him today. Thought it was a bad game for Jerry Hughes. Okay game for A.J. Epinesa. Didn't put up a lot of stats, but he was everywhere. Mario Addison finally got his shit together. He had a sack and closed off on some tackles, which was good to see. Jordan Poyer was just typical Jordan Poyer. Just a terrific, terrific player. Him and Micah Hyde, man, that safety combination, you can count on them every single week. I mean, they really are fantastic. The Bills put together 5 sacks today. Pretty good day for the Buffalo Bills defense again. They really rose to the occasion when the offense was kind of sliding and Allen was turning the ball over left and right, throwing picks. But this was a win that, look, the Bills played probably a C game. If you take the overall picture, well, maybe a little bit better, maybe a B- game. And the Bills play their A game, and Josh Allen stays within himself. Now with the ground game and the defense, they can get hot. This team, nobody wants to play, I'm sorry, in the postseason with having that well-rounded, complete football team. That's what you're looking for going into the postseason. The Bills are 1 win away from winning the AFC East. They got to beat the Jets next week. But today, they are a playoff team thanks to the loss to the Baltimore Ravens. And, you kind of look at today's elements and the snow and all the stuff that happened and the gusts of wind and all the rest against the Patriots. I mean, the Bills' ground game, if they can get it, that's going to help them a little bit more at home. I think that, the home field advantage is real in Buffalo, but not as big if they go somewhere warm and they're able to sling it around left and right. The bottom line is, though, you don't want to see Jonathan Taylor in the Colts. You don't want to see Derrick Henry if he comes back with the Titans. I think this Bills team right now, you go and win next week. You try to blow out the Jets, obviously, rest the starters. You'll host the playoff game. But at that moment, depending on who the opponent is, it will dictate how much you run the football. But today, look, they played a B- game and they won. A little stressful at the half. What in the world's going on? Could add a 17-5 lead, a 21-5 lead. The Bills throw another pick with Allen, and the Falcons get a field goal out of it. They lead at the half. but complete adjustments by Brian Dable, by Frazier, by Sean McDermott. Great job today by Sean McDermott, too. I mean, I've been riding his ass quite a bit, but the reality is he's had a couple of good games in a row here coaching, really good games. Threw the challenge flag, Gabe Davis, that was a catch. He saw something there, the tiptoe job. Great job by McDermott there, and certainly the game managing part has gotten, I think, better each and every week. And I think that's going to be crucial for the Bills going into the postseason. And this team now, multiple times now, right? I mean, this is back-to-back opportunities for the division. This is another playoff appearance for McDermott. And for as topsy-turvy as this season has been, you think about them coming back against Tampa. They weren't able to obviously complete that comeback. But, the loss to them and the loss to the Patriots, and you started to kind of doubt them a little bit. They get blown out by the Colts. You're kind of going, geez, the only real great quality win was against Kansas City. Then the Bills go into Foxborough, and they beat New England. Then the season changes a little bit. You kind of look at this team a little bit differently with the topsy-turvy nature of the season, the roller coaster that the Bills have been on. I got news for you. I'll take 10-6 as a Bills fan, man. I'll take this right now. I'll take 11-5 next week, winning the 10-6, 11-6 next week, winning the division over the New York Jets. And then you just get in the postseason, you see what happens. Maybe the Bills are a little bit, I guess, in a better spot now than going in, as a 1 or a 2 seed, right? With 13, 14 wins because of the hunted thing. They went from the hunter to the hunted. You have a situation where the bullseye's on the back, all the stuff we've talked about this year, the pressure, etc. All, the big money contracts going across the board, all over the roster, mostly Josh Allen at the top. Well, guess what? Maybe you get humbled 4 or 5 times during the year. You got to catch on late. You got to find yourself. You got to get your running game going. The defense has been locked down. They shut out the Falcons today in the second half. Maybe this is the way it's meant to be for the Bills to get into the postseason. Maybe they're more dangerous this way, figuring some things out and not being up at the top with 13 or 14 wins. We'll see what happens. Clearly, a huge opportunity for the Bills next week. Win that game against the Jets, win the division, host a playoff game, and let's go. Take your chances playing with house money to try to get to the Super Bowl. Mike Lindsley with you here. A 29-15 win for the Bills over the Falcons. Thank you for watching my recap of this game, and a huge thanks to the Syracuse Fitness Store and our great, great friends at Brewerton Ace Hardware. Inside and outside house amenities, you name it, they've got it. Garbage cans, they've got your shelves, they've got all sorts of great stuff. In the summer, you can get all your summer stuff. Right now, they've had a ton of blowout sales, bird seed, you name it, they've got it, and they have local vendors as well with pickles and barbecue sauce and a heck of a lot more. So stop into Brewerton Ace Hardware, Route 11, right off the Bartell Road exit. In fact, just stop to Brewerton Ace Hardware and then go up and grab your meatloaf Monday tomorrow. That sounds like a pretty good plan for me as well at Rosie's Corner. Brewerton Ace Hardware is a terrific place. You can sign up for their reward program, and the savings are aplenty right away. So make sure you do that at Brewerton Ace Hardware and go find them on social media as well. They've literally got everything that you could possibly need inside and outside. Brand new toilets. They can order some certain things with some different vendors. They've got all kinds of the grills there are top notch as well. Got to get to Brewerton Ace Hardware. That place is a terrific place to shop. And congrats to Jeff and team, and appreciate everybody who's come back on for 2022 on my platform as well. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.